So usually when you buy land, the seller actually owns it.
Right. I mean, that is the hope.
But what happens when the person selling you a phantom beachfront property is a sworn officer of the court? Welcome to this custom deep dive into judicial ethics. Today, we are examining a wild Philippine Supreme Court disbarment case to understand exactly how the legal system polices its own.
Yeah, we are looking at case AC number 1897, and we are going to break it down for you using the ALAC method.
Right, that is action, law, application, and conclusion. Okay, let's unpack this, starting with the action phase, which is essentially a real estate deal gone horribly wrong.
Extremely wrong.
So we have a Swiss national, Tony Peter Partsch, and he is looking to buy an 800 square meter beachfront property. He goes to attorney Ronaldo Vitorillo, who claims he owns the lot.
Which he doesn't, but we will get to that.
Yeah, exactly. So Partsch hands over a 250,000 peso down payment, but the titles just never materialize.
No, they don't. The lawyer constantly delays, and eventually he just backs out entirely.
And refuses to give a refund.
Flat out refuses. And when they finally end up in mediation to try and settle it, Vitorillo actually bullies the buyer. He threatens to hit him with a criminal case for unjust vexation.
Unjust vexation.
Yeah, which in the Philippines is basically, a catch-all charge for just annoying or harassing someone.
Wait, just because the buyer demanded his own money back?
Exactly.
That is wild. I mean, how can a legal professional confidently sell property they don't technically possess and then threaten to have the buyer arrested for complaining about it? It feels like, I don't know, selling a car when you don't even have the keys?
Or like a doctor diagnosing you with a fake disease.
Yeah.
Just to sell you the cure from their own pharmacy.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
They are weaponizing their specialized knowledge against you. Which brings us to the law step of our ALAC framework.
Right. The ethical boundaries.
Exactly. If you look at the Code of Professional Responsibility, lawyers are bound by Canon 1, which strictly prohibits deceit, and Canon 7, which requires upholding the dignity of the profession.
Plus, Philippine law strictly prohibits foreigners from owning private land anyway.
It does. And what's fascinating here is that a lawyer's admission to the bar is not just a fancy certificate. It is a sworn obligation to obey these very laws, not a license to exploit loopholes.
Here's where it gets really interesting, though. We move to the application, how the Supreme Court applied those ethical laws to Vitorillo's behavior. Because Vitorillo didn't actually own that beachfront lot at all.
No, not at all. He merely had an expectancy of getting 700 square meters of it.
An expectancy?
Yeah, as a contingency fee, meaning it was supposed to be his payment for winning an entirely separate, unresolved court case.
That is unbelievable. And he fully knew a Swiss national couldn't legally own the land anyway, yet he took the money and advised Partsch to just build a fence.
Yeah, just go ahead and build a fence.
I have to push back on something here, though, because Vitorillo's defense was basically blaming the victim, arguing that the buyer should have known the property laws.
He absolutely was banking on that ignorance. But the Supreme Court explicitly rejected that defense. A lawyer cannot weaponize a client's ignorance to excuse their own deceit.
No, you go to a lawyer for their expertise, not to get scammed by it. Which leads us to the final step of our ALAC breakdown, the conclusion. How did the court actually rule?
So initially, the Integrated Bar of the Philippines recommended a 2-year suspension.
Okay, 2 years.
But the Supreme Court actually increased it to 3 years for gross misconduct and violating the lawyer's oath.
3 years is a massive hit to a career, but honestly, it feels necessary given the power dynamics.
It really is. If we connect this to the bigger picture, the court has to severely punish this behavior to maintain public confidence in the legal system.
Because if lawyers act like predators, the whole system loses legitimacy. So what does this all mean for you? It is a stark reminder that professional titles do not guarantee ethical behavior.
No, they don't. When you hire a lawyer, you are buying their knowledge of the rules, which means you are uniquely vulnerable if they decide to use those rules against you.
It is such a profound vulnerability.
It is. But there is a lingering detail in this ruling that is incredibly unsettling. The Supreme Court suspended the lawyer, yes, but they explicitly refused to order the refund of that 250,000 peso down payment.
Wait, really? Why wouldn't they make him give the money back?
Because they stated the court is not a collection agency. A disbarment case is a purely administrative proceeding about a lawyer's fitness to practice.
So it is not a civil trial for damages.
Right. To actually get the money back, the victim would have to go through the trouble of filing an entirely separate civil lawsuit against him.
Wow. You realize the seller never had the property, the state takes away their license to practice, but you are still out your cash. So, how do victims of unethical lawyers find actual justice when they are forced to navigate the very legal system that just betrayed them all over again just to get their money back?